Hello, entrepreneurs. Welcome back to the SME South Africa podcast. I am your host. My name is Omega. No, there is no Alpha, and that is my real name. On this podcast, we unpack conversations that shape the entrepreneurial landscape. Our current themes are around funding and compliance. And my guest today is someone who is very well learned in that department. Please join me as I welcome Ronaldo Josie from Unconventional CA. Po, 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 po. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks, and yourself?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us. I feel very privileged to have someone of your caliber here today.
Pleasure.
And just to start us off, can you please introduce yourself? Briefly give us your background and what led you to being at this point where you are today, where you help SMEs.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, first of all, hi to all the guests and the viewers at home, and greetings, Omega. So, my name's Ronaldo Josie. I am a CASA by trade, so I'm in the accounting field. And I think my passion for helping people kind of started a while ago, like growing up. Like I always wanted to, do more, give more. And there was actually, so I'll actually tell you a brief story about my past. So when I was growing up, right, my dad would give me an allowance. He would give me like 10 Rand a week. And then there was like this toy I wanted to buy. So I like saved up my allowance from school that he would give me. And then we were going to game. We were going to game to buy the toy. And then on the way to game, as we were walking, I kind of like gave my 10, like the 10, I had it in 10 rands and I needed like 100 rand. So I kind of gave the 10 rands to like the people on the side of the street and things.
Oh, yeah.
And then by the time I got to the game with my dad, I couldn't afford it.
Oh.
And then my dad felt so bad. And my dad said, okay, you know what? I'll buy it for you. So I think helping people has always been in my DNA. And the fact that, I'm privileged to have the CASA designation behind my name gives me that ability to do more and help. So, yeah.
That's such a beautiful story. How old are you?
I think I must have been like 10 or 11, very young.
I'm thinking when I was 10, I just wanted to buy sweets. Oh my God. So you must have always wanted to help people.
Yeah.
So to start us off, I'm going to start with an icebreaker. We're going to play a game called Fund, Build, or Pass.
Okay.
So I'm going to highlight just the one-liner of like an entrepreneurial case. And then you let me know if you would fund, build the business, or just pass.
Do I have to explain?
You can. Actually, that's going to be very helpful if you do explain. Yeah. So the first one is an entrepreneur has a great product, but they have no financial records of their business.
Great product, but no financial records. I would say build on that one because I think for me, like as a funder looking to sort of fund a business, I would say, okay, great. On the one hand, this product, there's a demand. So it's like if it's really good, right, then it might also go above marketing, can sell itself. But on the other hand, I can't really buy into your product if I don't know the numbers because the numbers are telling the story.
Yeah.
So I would say build.
Okay, cool. And then the second one, a business is compliant. They have all their records in order, but 90% of the revenue comes from one client. Yeah.
I would say, okay, so here I'm hard torn between pass or build, right? But I think I would go build because I think it is fixable. So all the compliance is great, right? The numbers are going to tell me a story. I can look at it. Other funders can look at it. They can say, okay, this is where the business is going. Numbers look good. It's transparent. But on the other hand, there is a heavy concentration risk.
Yes.
And funders are going to think, okay, if I invest all my money here and that customer pulls out or they diversify, they do something, then like where's your business?
Yeah. But then in that case, like what would be the solution? Because I heard the term that it's gorilla client. Like if you have one client bringing in all your revenue, meaning majority of the staff and business efforts focus on this client. So how does that business even get to a point where they have the capacity to even find another client?
Yeah.
So
that's actually a very good question. And I think a lot of the SMEs in this climate actually are like in a similar position, right? And what I would say is two things. I would say there's innovation and there's resiliency. So innovation, because like if you that client is like 90% of your revenue, right? Your business is obviously catered towards that. It's your core service, right? What that client needs. But then the innovation comes in where you can actually innovate and say, okay, what's a non-core service I can introduce? So I'll give you a short story. There was a farmer that we were doing work for, right? And that farmer, his like main thing was like maize, right? So he was growing corn and things, and that was his core business. But then with farmers, right, they only get paid on harvest time, so the
Yes.
revenue is very seasonal. But then what actually happened was, with the like corn cobs and the nibs, he actually found a way to use that as a byproduct for a non-core service, which
Oh,
was like kind of smart, because then that
yeah.
sustained him in the off season. In the off season. So it is possible to innovate and find other ways around it. So yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. Okay, so that's it with our game. I think
Cool.
you were a great participant in our
Thank
game.
you.
So the next question is regarding the funding landscape. Is it really a funding problem? Like, we've heard the theme around, maybe it's not a funding problem, but a matchmaking problem. And can you please unpack that for us?
Yeah. So at Unconventional CA, right, we do believe that, look, there is money going around, right? There is money going around. It's not always a thing of like, hey, you know what, I need money, I can't get money. The access to markets, access to finance. That's always a common theme that comes across. But we believe that yes, that is still issues, right, prevalent in, you know, SME culture and society. But we think that as much as it is access, it's also a matchmaking thing. So what we are saying there is that a lot of the times the funders and the buyers and the sellers are not in the same boat. So the funders can't actually get to the SMMEs, and vice versa.
Yeah.
The SMMEs can't actually get to the funders. So there's not enough platforms and there's not enough introductions going around between these two parties. Say, hey, this is, you know, Tsepo, he's selling chicken, and you know, this is the amount he needs, and maybe it is a funder who actually wants to fund someone in that industry.
Yes.
And they just don't know each other because the landscape is so massive.
So is that why Unconventional CA exists, sort of as the platform to connect the SMEs and the funders?
Yeah, that's actually one of our core reasons to make those introductions, to, you know, introduce them to one another and, you know, get the ball moving.
Okay. Investment readiness has become a really huge buzzword. I want you to explain that to us in layman's terms. Like, what does it actually mean?
So investment readiness, right? It's a common misconception that that desperation sells products, and you know, we need to make the distinction here between desperation and actually being investment ready. Investment ready means that you are credible, right? You're a credible source. So they think about it, right, Omega, in your day-to-day, right? If you had to, let's say you're buying an air fryer, right? Let's say you're buying an air fryer, and then there's two shops, right? So there's one shop with the website, you know, you click on the website, it says 30 years we've been making air fryers or whatever. They have the team there and everything. So you see the people, you know, selling the air fryer and stuff like that. And it's like, you say, it's like premium. You can call them, they have a physical location. And then there's like another website. It's a cheaper price, same air fryer, but it's a much cheaper price, right? Like 1,000 Rand off, right? But they don't have a website. You call the number, it's engaged, and you got some like tough choices to make. But basically, you as a customer, you investing in the air fryer, right? So what like would you say is better, right?
Well, obviously the one that costs more, but then it's more trustworthy.
Yeah. So that's basically what investment readiness means. It means it's being credible, it's being trustworthy, it's having the demand, and it's being able to back that claims up. So you have some kind of proof. You say, hey, listen, I've got contracts in place, my compliance is in order. So if somebody comes to you and says, hey, I want to invest this money in you, what guarantee do I have?
Oh my gosh. I love the analogy you just gave us. Like, you painted a picture as to how SMEs can ensure that they're investor ready. I don't think I've ever heard anyone break it down that way, that they should essentially think of the funder as a customer or a client, like to ensure that they are trustworthy and they are a foolproof idea. So thank you for that.
Just have to note, this is not a promotional
for air fryers. We should get an air fryer sponsor, because that was a whole thing.
Yeah.
I want to take a moment to focus on Ember 360.
Yes.
Right? I want you to tell us about that and how does it essentially help SMEs?
Yeah, so we started with the first version, Ember 360, and basically what that was, it's a monitoring and evaluation tool that we use to track SMMEs progress. So at first we have like a diagnostic process where we would do site visits, we would do due diligence, and then we'd load them on our system, Ember 360. And then it kind of gives us like an insight into the gaps, right? So it asks like questions based around the business, and then the entrepreneur would answer it, and then it gives us an insight into like what kind of gaps the entrepreneur has. But why it's good is because it also gives the entrepreneur an insight in the type of questions that you like type of answers and questions that's being posed, and it helps them get inside the investor's mind, right? And then it's twofold, right? So it works out for us, it works out for the entrepreneur, but actually threefold, because it also works out for our clients. So it gives our clients an idea as well, because we know there's ED clients and there's SD clients, right? So SD clients are already on the supply chain. ED clients are like the enterprises that go around that want to be on a supply chain.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, Vodacom come and say, hey, listen, I got this program. There's 15 entrepreneurs here. I can see your Ember questions that they answered or whatever. I want this guy to be on my supply chain, and I can see that, but the questions that they ask, they align to my business goals. So it kind of helps the matchmaking in that regard. And then we have a new Ember system that we actually created. So this is ember360.org. So it's free sign up. Anyone can sign up if you have a small business. And basically that's more direct matchmaking. So you log on the profile, and then you just add like details about your business. So it's kind of like Facebook, right? But for SMMEs.
Yeah.
And basically you put all your details and stuff there as a SME, your company profile, everything. And basically there's two parts to it. So there's you as the entrepreneur, and then we load buyers on there as well. So the buyers have access to your profile, and they can come anytime, look at it, contact you directly, make the call, set up the meeting. So yeah, so there's two different Embers we're running.
Okay, so you mentioned that you guys have a vetting process where you go to the sites and you evaluate the entrepreneur. But what qualifies an entrepreneur to go through that process, to get to that stage where you have interest in them?
Yeah, so it all starts, right, with the phone call. Because sometimes, if they're like an SD, right, if they're on the supply chain, then they usually get given to us by the client. But if it's like an enterprise, right, then it starts with a phone call. So we have a phone call, we ask them, if we'd be interested. We say, hey, we have this program coming up. This is the objective of the program, whether it's to get you investment ready, funding ready, whatever. That's the objective of the program. Then if they, expressed interest, then we set up like a meeting with them, right? And then in the meeting, then we go over like the qualifying criteria. Maybe they might be qualifying criteria for the program. Then if they meet it, then, we set up like another meeting, or then we would go to the on-site, right? So if they agree and they meet the qualifying criteria, then we would go to on-site. And then on-site visit, whether it's a farm or wherever, then we get an understanding of their operations. We chat to them a little. We get an idea of the person behind the business, because we found that as much as it's important about the business, the person behind it is actually equally important. Because like with a lot of small businesses, right, you find the main founder, he's doing everything. He's a salesperson, the auditor, he's doing everything. So if that person steps away, the business might be in distress. So we try to equal parts keep the entrepreneur happy and safe and sane, while his business is in the same light.
Okay, I want to bring it back to the entrepreneur and the air fryer and the funding. Based on your observation, do you feel like entrepreneurs have a realistic idea of the amount of work that goes into becoming an attractive enough business for investment?
Yeah, so that's actually a very, very good question. So basically, right, anyone can start a business. Technically, right, because you just register on CIPC.
Yeah.
I think you'd beat like pre-trading revenue, so it's like 100 rand, right? So it's quite easy to start a business. You just need like a business name and
And
a
then
couple of minutes of
you
your time.
done. Yeah.
But a lot of people confuse, like I mentioned earlier, right, the desperation with like being investment ready.
Yes.
Because a lot of them will, especially like startup businesses, right? They would say, okay, cool, I need this money, I need like this money because I need this. But then with like as an investor, you'll ask yourself, okay, can this person make repayments? Does this person know what kind of capital they need? Does this person know what they need the money for? Like there's like so many questions that the average entrepreneur doesn't like ask.
Yeah.
Because I think it's also an issue of, what does the investor actually look for? How do I get into the investor's mind? So a lot of them don't look at it from that perspective.
That's true.
So like to take it back, if you look at it from the air fryer and the customer perspective, think about it like that. Think about that like as a simple example, and then say, how do I get my business in that credible state to where I am attractive to investors?
It seems there's a gap either in awareness or getting the education out there to entrepreneurs. Because at SME South Africa, we also have a hub, a communal hub where people go up there, they connect with other entrepreneurs, they put up queries, and we see a lot of entrepreneurs saying, I need funding, I need funding, I need funding. Like even in comments, like I've seen some really frustrated entrepreneurs saying, no, these banks just don't want, or these investors just don't want. And it's just like something's not clicking. And I don't want to fully blame it on the entrepreneurs because they're there every day hustling, putting in the work. So where exactly do we find the solution in helping, these small businesses in understanding that, hey, like you need to make your air fryer as irresistible as possible to the investor who is like now the buyer of the air fryer. I really love this air fryer thing. Eh? So how do we actually close that gap?
So a good way to close the gap, right? Like if I was an entrepreneur, like starting tomorrow, and I was like, hey, I have this great business idea, I have my compliance in check. I at this moment, I know I need funding. I know what I need the funding for. I know I can make the repayments. I know what kind of funding I need. I just know I need the funding now. What I would do is I would hit a quick Google search. I would just say, okay, look, I'm looking for, alternate sources of finance. I'm a small business or whatever. You can just like type it out on Google, and then you'll get a couple of links that will come up, right? And like one of the links might even be us, right? One of the links might even be our company. Then just like click on those companies and like just read the about. So just read the about, because I think what that's gonna do as a start, right? That's gonna open up your horizon, like just outside of banks, because like because we know, right, in today's landscape, banks always want to diversify. As much as they want to diversify their portfolio, they also want to protect against credit risk about not being paid, right? And banks are quite like stringent on that. Hence why the market for alternate funders is actually like so viable now. Actually, there's like so many alternate funders out there. If you just do a quick Google search, alternate funder to bank SMME, just some keywords like that, so many are gonna come up. So just click on them, read the about page, just to get an understanding. And then once you do that, then it's as simple as picking up the phone, making a call, having a chat with them, just to get more insight and more information. And and then if you do stumble across our page, we more than happy to give you the full insight, because our main goal at Unconventional CA is actually to serve the community and to build the entrepreneur up.
I love that you said your main goal is to serve the community, because I was about to say that it seems like the burden or the responsibilities on organizations like yours, organizations like SME South Africa, to bridge that gap, because we also hear things like funding languages, and there's like maybe your spaza shop or your kota shop in the township, and when you're going to talk about funding language, like what is that, right? So it's almost like the responsibility is upon us to break that down, because those businesses do make money, do bring in revenue. So it's important to basically bridge that gap. And then I think this is my last question. I just want to be sure. Sorry, give me a second. My cue cards are... All right. So I wanted to ask, how can entrepreneurs identify the right type of funding we need? Because we started with this, instead of just randomly applying everywhere.
Yeah, so I think to find the right type of funding, right, you would need to do a deep dive into your own business and find out what stage is your business at. So if you are like in early stages, right, of business, for example, then you know, like you could look for angel investors, right, or you could look for like a grant, right, because grants are usually non-repayable, and angel investors are like, you know, people looking to want to like diversify, and it's like usually a small part of their portfolio that they'll invest. So they call them angel investments because it's kind of like a miracle, right?
Yeah.
So it's like your mom or your dad or someone who just like gives you funding. It's usually not non-repayable as well, but it's a source of funding. If you more like scaled up, your business is more scaled, right, and you have like reputation behind you, you have like relevance in industry, you credible source, then you know you can start looking at venture capital funding. Then you can start like approaching banks and, you know, similar financial institutions for that type of funding, right? So yeah, there's literally like lots of funding going around. There's even like asset funding. There's like if you have like a lot of assets and you have something to back your funding up with, there's procurement funding as well, right? So then procurement funding is basically if you have a PO, right, that you want to do. So let's say I give you a PO and I say, hey Omega, I need you to build roads, right? And then you say, okay, cool. That's what my company does. I'm happy with it. But you know, your cash flow won't allow for it for the whole project, because the project might take like 2-3 years, right? So it's not going to allow for it. So then you get a procurement funding, and then what they do is they fund your PO. So they say, okay, you have a contract in place. I'm going to give you the money to actually, you know, get through it. Yeah. So there's literally so many different types of funding, but it all starts with you as a business owner finding out, what type of funding do I need and what stage of my business am I in?
Okay, I think that actually ties to what was actually my last question. Okay. Because I was going to say, to wrap up this conversation, if you had to give entrepreneurs just one task in like today or in the next week that they could do to become investment ready, I'm assuming you would say is to find out which stage the business is at and exactly what type of funding they need. Yeah.
I would definitely say that, and I would say like you I just have to reiterate, this is not a plug, but if you do go to, you know, ember360.org and you say get started and you sign up, there is like targeted questions that we ask to get, you know, entrepreneurs in the mindset, because like we've done like a township accelerator before, right? And it's like you were saying earlier, it's not that they don't have like good products and stuff, because, you know, the products were excellent, the business ideas were excellent, but it was kind of like the access to market and the access to this knowledge, you know, that's like that we take for granted. It's so widespread and everyone should know it, right? But it's just that knowledge that's saying like, hey, look, you know, just make sure your CIPC is in order, and, you know, if you send these documents to a funder, just make sure that your B certificate is valid, and just more things like that. So yeah, I would say at a minimum, you know, just make sure that your documents are in order, make sure you understand what kind of funding you need, and then I think just know yourself, know your business, where your business is at.
Thank you so much, Ronaldo. If anyone wants to connect with Ronaldo, you can find him on LinkedIn as
Yes.
Ronaldo Josie. And please stay tuned for our follow-up episodes. Thank you.